The envelope, please. Let's see what the hell we're going to discuss today. It's upside down, but that's okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this says the first word is vinyl.
And digital.
And digital. So we're doing vinyl versus digital, not versus, but and digital. Well, it's
Vinyl
nice
and
that it's
digital.
and, like the ampersand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Nothing.
mean, there's people that only run vinyl. They're like, oh, I would never run digital.
Why?
That's a thing.
And
are
have
they so
always
enthusiastic?
Always have,
yeah,
will.
yeah.
Well, they usually tend to have large vinyl collections.
What do they like about it?
It's analog.
Okay.
You know, kind of like your ears.
Is that better though?
Well, there's no conversion process. It's analog to analog. Yeah, that's what most people I don't think realize is that you're with digital, you're taking the analog, which is of course somebody singing instruments. You're converting it to digital, right?
Okay.
And then when you gotta go to hear it, obviously since we can't hear digital, you have to convert it back to analog. And you know what happens every time you have a conversion process? Something
Maybe.
gets lost usually.
So you're saying vinyl superior?
Vinyl has its own inherent issues too,
Yeah,
right?
oh, yeah.
What are those?
Yeah, well, there's big variations on cartridges, and it's because it's such a
Isolation on
tiny
everything.
signal, it's susceptible to capacitance and things like that in the cabling, and the phono stages all kind of sound a little different too. There's no just they're high gain devices, so we're dealing with tricky amplifiers to make quiet. That
Right.
there's a lot of inherent difficulties to set up analog turntable. We're talking turntables correctly. So there is that. It's not as nowhere near as easy to use as digital.
Well,
Can't take it
digital's
with you in
very
the car.
easy. Yeah, you can't take. Well, you can.
I've never seen
Yeah.
a turntable in a car.
Oh, it has happened.
Who did that?
I don't know, but I've seen it.
Is that
Sony?
a common thing in the industry?
I
Are
don't
people
know
doing
if
that?
it was like a stock thing, but people have put turntables in cars.
I'm sure they have.
Wait. That was like aftermarket. It wasn't.
Well, yeah. It's not like GM.
They used to have
it.
8-tracks in cars.
Yeah,
You
well,
guys
yeah.
before your guys' time. It was
Yeah.
like 1970 or so. You know.
Yeah.
I've seen cars with 8 tracks.
Yeah.
Sure.
My uncle had a Datsun 240Z. I think it was a 70, and it had an 8-track in it.
I know.
He even had a portable boombox that had an 8-track that you'd stick the tape in the top. I was a little kid at the time. I remember hitting the button. You hit the button, you hear this clang, clang, and the head would obviously move to the
That's
next
analog.
track.
So is that better
That's
than digital?
analog.
How come people aren't running that anymore?
Tape. Well,
Yeah,
the cassettes are kind of.
That had a
thing
problem
that-
with rewinding and stuff.
Yeah.
It only went
Rewinding?
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't
That's
go
it?
And
backwards.
degradation.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so-
Vinyl doesn't have this problem?
Well, it does.
No, it does.
Yeah.
But if you use a baller cartridge and you take
Yeah,
care
you're
of
gonna
it,
take care. So yeah, you need to be a lot more.
and you don't anally play the
Delicate.
same album over every day for the whole your
Sounds
whole
like a
life,
lot of
it'll probably
maintenance,
be
though.
fine.
Yeah, there's maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, digital, no maintenance.
No maintenance.
No. You could just drop your hard drives on the floor. It'll be fine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No problem. They love that.
Yeah.
Download it off the internets.
But no, I think
Yeah, streaming.
Yep.
any format that sounds good is a good format.
It's just how much effort you're willing to put in, right?
Right.
The
with,
best-
with vinyl
Out of all the years I've been doing this, the best format I ever heard is guess what?
tape.
Yeah. No, specifically.
Real to real.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
15 IPS, baby. And that big old, what is it, a Studer A80? It was an older unit that Bruce Brown from
Yeah.
Puget Studios, he completely rebuilt the thing. It was like, the thing was 80 grand new when it was made in I don't know,
85 or
19
something, yeah.
It's a studio freaking
But he was
real.
putting digital audio on that, wasn't he? It was digital.
Well, he
he was
would
recording
put on
onto
the
that.
tapes whatever the source was. He got the stuff from the studios, the masters, because he was dumbing it down for like HD tracks and stuff like that.
Digital seems to be an easy format,
Very easy.
economical.
It's widespread.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's everywhere.
Easy to deal with, easy to get content,
It's the way everything's
easy to
gone.
manage it. You
Yeah.
can play it on 50 different
I got
devices
no
if you
problems
want.
with it.
You
Don't
can-
need
you
to
always
store it
have it with
locally.
you. Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah,
degrade.
you can't really bring your turntable
Typically.
with you.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
I think digital's great, especially
Most
the
ways
higher
it's a
res,
lot cheaper,
higher
too.
res file formats.
yeah.
DSD's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
It's
But
funny because I go back. Oh, sorry.
the problem is then storage, obviously, mobily.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, sort
So,
of.
Well, with streaming services,
that's true. Then you need
Yeah,
internet.
streaming title in the car ain't bad.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's,
for the most part, it
sounds
works.
way better than sat
Satellite,
radio. We
oh,
already
yeah.
covered this.
Or
didn't
A
we?
normal.
turntable in the
Yeah.
trunk. Yeah. How about you scrub through the track though? Switch albums up while you're driving.
I remember
Yeah.
years ago
Yeah.
when CD was just getting going. I was working with this Rotel player, and they came out with one that was a single bit CD player,
Okay.
and it definitely sounded smoother than like
How does that work?
than the typical 16-bit they were making at the time. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't pay any attention to the inner workings of it, but that's similar to DSD in that it's a stream rather than, you know, 16, 24, 32-bit, whatever. DSD is more or less just a serial
Yeah.
digital
Does that matter though?
at a very high friggin' rate.
Yeah.
So how does it matter? Well, I mean, that's the sampling rate. So relatively speaking, you're catching an awful lot of samples of the original analog recording versus, you know, 44.1 or 96K, which is, you know, has been done for decades now. So you would think that if you're capturing that many more samplings of a wave form, that it would be a more accurate representation on the playback side of it. You would think,
Well, yeah.
Maybe.
you know, and it seems to be the case.
Well,
I've
yeah,
preferred DSD on our high res for quite a while now over like the typical. You guys really haven't played with the different formats like I have.
Not much.
Yeah,
Not really.
yeah, you kind of just jumped right into what it is, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
I pretty much use title
Yeah,
and it is what it
that's
is because
yeah.
the convenience.
Yeah, well, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
And that's
It's just
kind of
such a
cool because
hassle
it'll
to deal
bump
with
you up
anything
to
else.
whatever the highest res they got.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, wishful thinking everything was master quality, but you know,
Yeah. It's
even,
not.
even then, no, it's not
Yeah, I
perfect
mean-
format. But
Well, nothing
course
is.
not.
yeah.
I mean, it's not like.
But you got to deal with what's available to you, and
Which brings us back to
you only
analog.
have so many
Yeah.
options.
Yeah.
So oddly enough, though, I think with digital, it definitely, especially for the younger crowd, it changes the experience quite appreciably. Because with the old days, you buy an album.
Right.
It was a significant investment.
Right.
Well, relatively speaking, compared to digital, where it's just like you
Yeah.
click on it, you play it, you
Yeah.
don't care. You kind of are more apt to listen to a cover to cover. It's more of an experience. You grab the thing, you pop it in, you
Yeah,
are more
true.
likely to kind of listen
Yeah,
through
you're not going to fast
the full
forward
thing.
or anything.
Probably
You just-
not,
skip
not
over
quite so
tracks.
much, right? And so that's very different. You have a tangible thing.
Yeah.
You're more devoted, I suppose, to that particular artist.
yeah, that's
album.
probably a good word actually.
Yeah.
And it's a very different thing. Whereas
the
now
artist-
it's so easy to skip around.
Yeah, and the artists who created that album knew that. They knew that you
Well,
were
yeah.
probably devoted,
Right.
that you were going to listen to it. In fact, if you listen to a lot of them, the way they speak about their song order,
Yeah, they talk
they
about
purposely
it as
create
a whole.
a story out of
Yeah.
the whole album, which
Sure.
they think got lost in digital.
In a
you
lot
know?
of ways it
I
did.
could see. Yeah.
Because
So-
how often do people do that digitally?
Yeah.
Well, so now the opposite would be true too. Now today's recording artists are looking at it as a complete opposite. They're looking as every
Individual
song is
tracks.
an individual song, and there ain't no story.
Near enough, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, which kind of sucks in a way because, you know, as a human race, we've lost the ability to tell stories, haven't we?
Well,
You got to buy a damn book still and read it.
Well, it changes
we
the
got
way
YouTube.
the
Yeah.
music needs to be made to some extent.
Yeah.
Because now you're more apt to throw out a couple bangers, whereas you
Yeah.
wanted to make a good album back in
Yeah.
the day, it seems.
Well, I mean, there's still people making full albums and
Sure,
putting out on
absolutely.
vinyl and everything
Right.
still, but it's
Right.
not the norm. Yeah. Your
Right.
standard pop is.
occasionally you get the gapless albums
Yeah.
that have seemingly no real change from track to track. It's a seamless blend
Yeah.
to create some carefully nuanced experience or something like that.
Yeah. That
I
was
don't
more
know.
the focus at the time,
Right.
back in the day. Yeah.
I mean,
It was
I
an
remember.
experience.
I just remember playing when I was playing albums at home when I was younger. I don't know. I didn't have any like baller system or
Yeah.
anything like that, but you
Yeah.
know, it was just a typical, you know, couple $100 turntable and probably a Gerard or something. And but I just remember it was cool to be able to just throw a song in that I liked at a time, or if you had a girlfriend over or something like that, you'd be able to put on something that was decent, you know, because back then there was no internet, right? I mean, you either threw a cassette in or you
Or the
put an
radio.
album on, or the radio, yeah,
Right.
which is, you know,
Yeah.
which I mean, today's radio is full of commercials. I mean,
Yeah.
FM and AM, but back then it wasn't so bad with commercials. But yeah, the radio would have been all right. But the thing with the radio is you couldn't set the mood.
Well,
You
yeah.
couldn't do anything. You were
Yeah.
stuck with whatever the
It's
DJ,
like, yeah.
whoever was playing at the time. Where
Yeah.
here you have this stack of, even if you only had a few albums,
Yeah.
it was cool because you could put on and change the mood instantly.
Well,
and I mean, digital does
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
now,
people
too.
do that now.
No.
You have a Spotify
Yeah,
playlist
sure.
or whatever you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Separate workout
Yeah,
playlist
now you
or
can
something.
change lighting in the room.
Well,
Now you
yeah.
Sure.
get LED lighting. You say, oh, I think I'll make it green while we're listening, while we're cooking those veggies.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, again, you know, I don't know. I'm cool with any format, really.
Well, yeah. But I know me personally, I don't listen to albums, whole albums.
Yeah.
I just go pop, pop, pop through tracks. You know.
On vinyl?
No, I
No.
mean, that's all. I don't
okay.
listen to vinyl.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I wouldn't want to sit there and listen to a whole album. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to dedicate the time to do
Well,
it.
yeah, you tend. I mean, we're kind of.
Yeah.
We're a little more particular.
Yeah.
But we
I
tend
do
to
it
only like a
sometimes.
couple songs out of a whole album.
Yeah. If it's an artist I really like,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
give them
maybe.
the chance. I give them the benefit of
Maybe,
the doubt,
but
I guess you would say.
It seems like if you were playing a record, you would have to just
You pretty
sit
much
down and
would,
listen
yeah.
to
It would pretty much be any time
it's
you
like
buy a new album.
If I'm taking
would
the
listen
effort
cover
to
to cover.
take out an album.
Right.
And certainly
It's
with
a different
tape,
experience.
too.
Yeah.
I think tape would be pretty much
Tape,
you're going to
yeah,
play
you're
it.
pretty much, I would imagine,
Sitting
run
there and
through
hitting
it. It's
clang,
hard to
stop,
find the
and
track.
fast forward,
Yeah.
and you don't know where the hell the next track starts.
Right.
So you're kind of going to do that with tape.
People probably had a different mentality back then, though.
No, I care. I do care about instant gratification. I open title and then whatever's on the screen, I click on it and listen to it. Right. I want to just.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well,
what
that's
you're looking
true.
for.
I'm not
Yeah.
like thinking about
Right.
searching for stuff.
Well, that's true.
And that's like an album, but even harder. Like you're looking through all your albums, thinking about what you want.
Yeah.
I just want to play something.
Well,
I
that's
wonder
true.
how the amount of time people spend listening to music has changed over time, if it has at all.
It seems more of like a background activity now. Like everybody has it on in the background. all
Yeah,
the time.
for sure.
So
maybe
you don't
there's
really
more
even
total
care what you're
actual
listening
listening
to.
time.
Just you want like a
Yeah.
playlist.
But I wonder how much time people actually actively spend listening to music. Like it's like a
That's what they're
this is a
doing?
sole activity. This is what
Yeah.
you're doing. I wonder how that's changed over time.
I don't think there's a lot of that going on.
Well,
I think there's
plenty of people-
I know
multitasking.
there is one difference.
Sure.
People are listening to music all the time in like grocery stores and they have like
Yeah,
AirPods. So
absolutely.
people are listening to music more often now, but they're not seriously
But not as like the
listening.
sole activity.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm accustomed to doing that in the past, but even now I find myself thinking, well, maybe I should grab my laptop and do something while I'm listening to this music.
Yeah.
But I almost got to force myself to not do anything else and
Yeah,
sit
but
down.
why
and
is
listen to
that?
music.
Is that effectively
I don't know.
the
I guess
smartphone
at
culture
this
or
day and age,
something?
I think we're feeling guilty if we're not working.
Just sitting and listening to
Yeah.
music.
think so, yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
like a guilt trip. It's
That's
like,
true.
why
Yeah,
aren't you
you can't
doing anything?
just sit and listen to
Yeah.
music, no
It's
matter
harder.
what you do.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's because we live in New York. We're Northerners. I don't know what the
Yeah.
deal is. Maybe in different areas or different parts of the world,
Maybe.
the Europeans might listen to this and go, "What are they talking about? We sit
Yeah.
down and listen to music all the time."
Yeah,
type
I mean,
thing.
I know, like me,
Hell,
like,
they give us a break at work to listen to music.
well,
It doesn't work
I
like
don't know
that
about
here.
that.
at the very minimum, you're checking your email or reading an email while you're listening
Yeah,
to music.
you're
I mean,
gonna have a
at
phone
the
in your
very,
Yeah.
minimum.
So
It's a
I
different
mean,
activity than it once was, then,
Yeah.
isn't it?
No, yeah, it's changed,
Yeah, like-
which I guess is the way it goes. But
Yeah.
I don't think there's any going back. And you see that with a lot of things in life.
I guess that's the difference, though. The people that listen to vinyl are probably not doing anything else, so they got a different mentality.
Could be, yeah. They're
And,
calm.
Yeah, and other people, most
Yeah.
people probably, just they don't care. Digital,
Could
fine,
be.
good.
Yeah, it's probably one component of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all the ease tends to align to focus more towards instant gratification
Right.
these days.
Right.
Whereas before, that probably wasn't the goal. It was probably just general enjoyment, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which to some extent is different. It's not so much focused on 5 minutes of filling some gap or a drive into work or something like that, or to the store.
Not only that, they didn't have like 9% beers back then either, really. So like now you could have one or two of those and you're almost ready to change the song. Like, okay, let's move on to something different. Your mood changes all of a sudden, where before you'd have to have like 6 or 7 Jenny Pounders to
Oh,
get
is
there.
that
You
the
know?
difference?
Yeah, it'd be by
Right.
then you'd be like ready to pass out. You
Oh,
know?
craft beer is what did it.
Yeah,
Yes.
now you're talking
Absolutely.
bourbons, all these local distilleries popping up all over in Buffalo and all
Well,
over
there
the
might be
country.
something
from
to
what I
that.
hear.
Yeah.
So like
That's what's causing it.
well, yeah, but that's part of instant gratification, isn't it?
Yeah.
You
Sure.
know, I mean, you're
Yeah,
doing, you're pouring a couple of scotches or bourbons. It's coming on quick versus chilling out for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, that comes back to the way life was back then. I think you had that time to chill out. That's all gone away now. Now everybody's job is everybody's job, and that's cool too. But it's just, it's a different. We are in a different lifestyle that's never going to go back for
No,
sure.
Times have changed
Yeah,
for sure.
no, it definitely
Yeah.
can't go back. Like, try not having your phone, for a day.
Yeah, it's
couldn't
tough.
do it.
Even like 10 minutes. It's like
10, it's like, oh,
It's
am I
not-
missing something?
it's
Yeah.
not really an I don't know if it's an addiction though.
For some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Depends how much you rely on it.
I mean, once you get past a few hours without it, I think you're okay.
Yeah, you kind of forget about it.
It's just
yeah.
that initial thing where it's like almost like you're insecure without having a damn there. Or you might miss something, which is kind of stupid if you think about
Yeah, a
it.
bit of FOMO, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, analog, digital, it's all cool. Whatever your flavor is to listen to music. If you think it sounds good, more power to you. I think it's cool.
Yep.
Yep, different advantages to both.
By all means, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can catch more of us. We're going to keep coming at you with all kinds of dumb speak.
Feel free to ask any questions you want in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something you're interested in that we might know about, we'll talk about it. And don't forget, we're going to be at Can Jam next month, so in New York City. So definitely, it's a fun place over there in Times Square. So hopefully it won't be too cold this year. We'll be able to get out and about, and find restaurants a little further away than short walking distance.
Yeah.
Anyway, see you then.
It very much is quite reminiscent of effectively how we do things.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, from our perspective, oh yeah, this seems kind of how we would do it. You know, it's
Right.
like they're just kind of like, yeah, we'll try this, right?
They do things that are quite
Yeah,
different.
they just go for it, right?
Right.
Just
Quite different, but not necessarily
status quo, is that the word?
common.
They're not afraid
Yeah.
to go against the norm.
Yeah,
Right. They're not.
Yeah,
They're not
Cybertruck.
doing things just because everybody else is doing it in one particular way.
Right.
And that's why you get things like the Cybertruck, I suppose.